Everyone, it's indeed been another beautiful day in the neighborhood, and we're so welcome for that on this March the 7th. What a way to start your weekend. That's going to become gradually cloudy over the course of tomorrow afternoon and evening. A little chance of some showers during the overnight, then clearing and nice for your Sunday. Start of next week, if you like today, oh, you're going to be in love with that. We'll have much more to talk about in your, well, not all that much. We'll have some details in your weather forecast, but again, it's going to be short and sweet. Once again, I'm back in here with highlights. We'll go to the Eastern Kentucky Expo Center for highlights and scores from last night's ladies' matchups. Then I'm out the door and on to catch the next round tonight. In addition to all of that, a great deal of other news. We've got a great deal of follow-ups, including true bills which were not handed down in regards to 2 motorized vehicle fatalities in Sagersville, McGoffin County last year. Guilty pleas on behalf of a Johnson County couple in relation to a case that began here in McGoffin County, a traffic stop in the Mountain Parkway that netted over $1 million in cash and maybe even much more than that in drugs. Host of other news and information, some of which we're still working on, so bear with us. Just a couple of reminders before we get to our top headlines this evening. As I mentioned, I believe in part or in brief last evening, the McGoffin County Fiscal Court did meet earlier today in a special called session. We'll begin coverage of that next week, more than we can handle this evening as far as time and news is concerned. We'll hold that and begin our reporting next week with coverage of today's McGoffin County Fiscal Court meeting. I can tell you they focused greatly on roads and millions of dollars worth of projects that are coming in the works for McGoffin County. A lot of paving announced and other things of that nature on the state and local level. And Rumpke is still behind. Tomorrow they'll get caught up on garbage collection services for McGoffin County. As if your garbage collection was to be today, well, put it out tonight. They'll have it for you, have it picked up for you tomorrow. And of course, another reminder, daylight savings time begins Sunday 2 a.m. to be pretty specific, so set those clocks forward by the tune of an hour when you go to bed Saturday night. You'll wake up a little less rested, but we'll have a little more daylight at the end of the days thereafter. With that said, and one more, and I couldn't get up to anybody today about it. We'll do so Monday, but I'll pass along to you one more time the phone number in case you are making plans on going this coming Tuesday to the Big Sandy Community and Technical College walking track over in Prestonsburg, where they're having their walk for awareness. Now, it starts that morning at 8, goes to 5 o'clock that evening, all in an effort to raise efforts to create a world without sexual violence. It's going to be 8 o'clock, and you can register with the healing program at the tent they'll have set up. You can't miss it, and then walk as many laps throughout the afternoon as you so desire. If you want to learn more over the course of the weekend, I've got a couple of phone numbers for you, 886-4397 or 4323. We'll do our best to have some details on that in more detail on Monday's program, so you can have a chance still to take part on Tuesday. I spoke with a representative of the Johnson County Sheriff's Department a few moments ago, and they've confirmed that they still have one straggler out there, one member of Operation Broken Heart that they have not apprehended, and they're once again going to the public to try to get some information on his whereabouts.
One thing that we've been doing since we've come into office, and this thing that we will continue to do. It's a problem here in Eastern Kentucky, here in Johnson County, and we're going to do everything we can do to try to put an end to it, or at least slow it down in our county.
That was Johnson County Sheriff's Deputy Kevin Pelfrey the morning after Operation Broken Heart, an early February 20 morning shortly after Valentine's Day, hence the name of the operation, where the Johnson County Sheriff's Department set out to arrest 12 individuals in their latest drug roundup. 7 were apprehended that morning, and over the course of the past couple of weeks, they have continued to now officially nab all those they were searching for, with the exception of one. One individual is still eluding Johnson County authorities, and they're turning to the public to try to put the lid on this investigation before the next one gears up, I'm told more than likely very soon. Deputy Pelfrey confirmed for me today that they are still looking for Tyler Runnels. This man, 21, from Hager Hill. He, as were most of the others, wanted on charges of trafficking in a controlled substance. In his particular charges, less than 10 dosage units. However, in the first-degree first offense, he sold oxycodone on 3 separate occasions to an undercover informant working with the Johnson County Sheriff's Department. Johnson County Sheriff Dwayne Price says, as always, the public can remain anonymous with their tips and information, and they're always encouraged to relay any that they may have. If you have any regarding any other drug activity, or in this particular case, call 789-3411. Once again, 21-year-old Tyler Runnels of Hager Hill the last of the 12 to be nabbed in Operation Broken Heart. And this next report goes back to a case that I first reported on shortly after the initial arrest took place. Now, it all goes back to a traffic stop that took place on the Mountain Parkway back in October of 2011. The state police and local authorities were conducting a traffic safety checkpoint at the old Gullet Toll Plaza here in Magoffin County when they made an arrest of a sizable nature. So much, in fact, they asked me to sit on information for a period of time until they could further their investigation. Well, after they did so, I started to bring the information as was possible, and all in all, it resulted in the confiscation of more than $1 million in cash, thousands of pills, and the arrest or charges against several individuals who were all part of a pill mill operation based out of Floyd County in the community of Oxshire, 2 of which have now officially pled guilty to those charges as of yesterday. While it's believed to have gone on for much longer, state and local authorities at the time charged them with operating the conspiracy between July of 2010 and June of 2012. Ray Douglas Stapleton and his wife, Tina, of Johnson County, officially pleaded guilty yesterday to conspiring to distribute drugs and to operating a business to do so in federal court yesterday. Now, it dates back to this scene. October 4th, 2011, here in Magoffin County, Ray Stapleton was alone and in this car when he was noticeably drunk at a traffic safety checkpoint coming through the old toll plaza. Then, Magoffin County Sheriff's Deputy Rodney Minix noticed a smell of alcohol, stopped the car, pulled it over, and immediately authorities began to go through the vehicle, finding thousands of pills, nearly 7,000 pills in his possession, in large containers that are not distributed to individuals, but distributed to pharmacies and medical facilities. They also found hundreds of thousands of dollars in his vehicle, and after taking him into custody on DUI and other charges, they executed a search warrant at his residence, and altogether $1.3 million was discovered. The drugs and money, illegal gain from the Auto Accident and Health Care Clinic in Oxshire. Now, we know that there were 2 doctors also involved. They reportedly were giving out prescriptions at that location with no physical examinations, no official medical treatment, just taking cash in hand and giving out the prescription for a large quantity of prescription pills. That traffic stop resulted in the forfeiture of that $1.3 million, which went to state and local and federal authorities. And it also is considered to be one of the largest of its kind, possibly the largest in this particular aspect in the history of the Eastern Kentucky region. Now, as for the Stapletons, no photograph available for Tina. Ray, however, is seen here upon his arrest that October night in Magoffin County in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center, faces up to 20 years in prison each. Now, they are going to be formally sentenced in July. I can also tell you that charges are still pending against the 2 doctors in question, that being Emmanuel Acosta and a Stephen Arney. Now, they were the ones who were giving out all those prescriptions at the clinic. They are still fighting the charges, but they are still pending. And also, at the time of the arrest, there was a note from one of those doctors found in Stapleton's car, as I told you back on my initial report, that he had sent them a message in a handwritten note saying that he believed that authorities were coming to their facility, and they wanted to make sure that they weren't going to be extra busy or extra crowded on the day that they arrived, so it didn't tip off to any suspicions. Check out our daily specials that get even better after 4 p.m. only at your Sagersville Lee's Famous Recipe. Saturday's the day we like it a little hot and spicy with our 20-piece box of wings, only $6.99, or only $5.99 after 4 p.m., or you can make it a hot and spicy meal deal with 10 wings, your choice of 2 homemade sides and a biscuit for just $4.69 or $3.99 after 4 o'clock. Only at your Sagersville Lee's Famous Recipe. And Sunday's a day unlike any other day at Lee's with our Sunday special. That's right, chicken and dumplings and cobbler for just $4.49. $3.99 after 4 o'clock. Only at your Sagersville Lee's Famous Recipe. Always the best selection of hand-picked, quality, pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, all with the service, prices, and financing aimed at making sure you drive off with the deal and vehicle you've been looking for. Premier Motors in Paintsville, 297-4121. Faster, friendlier, family-owned Parkway Pharmacy, open 8:30 till 6:30 Monday through Friday in the new McGoffin Medical Plaza under the care of local pharmacist Jesse Rudd. To make Parkway Pharmacy your pharmacy, come by or give us a call at 349-4400.
Let's do this. Can't believe my daughter wants to marry a Hatfield.
And I can't believe my son fell in love with a McCoy.
I got one thing to say. They're going to have the wireless plan with the best service.
And I say they're going to have the wireless plan with the biggest savings.
Daddy!
Hush up, Mary Beth.
Pa, stay out of this, Jonah.
We're done talking.
You got that right.
Better service.
Bigger savings.
Daddy, we've both got Appalachian Wireless. Better service.
Bigger savings.
That's today's Appalachian Wireless.
Hi, I'm Rodney Minnick, born and raised in McGoffin County. I wish to see my family and theirs one day grow old in a place I so love. But to live here and be safe, we need to put honor, experience, and confidence in the Sheriff's Department. A graduate of the Department of Criminal Justice Academy, I have 7 years of dedicated service to McGoffin and Johnson counties, and with your support, I would like to take that leadership straight to those responsible for selling drugs and stealing from our home. Please vote Rodney Minnick, Republican candidate for Sheriff of McGoffin County. Thank you.
The Kentucky State Police was in Sagersville, McGoffin County today executing indictment warrants which were handed down and returned by City of McGoffin County Grand Jury on yesterday. I reported to you on 2 of those yesterday, and at least 2 more to report tonight as they have been served throughout the course of the morning and afternoon. I'll have those in just a few moments. First, though, 2 follow-up stories that are both related to motorized vehicle fatalities that happened here in Sagersville and McGoffin County last year. The first goes back to April, and it involves an ATV-related accident that claimed the life of a young 4-year-old Michigan boy who was staying with his family grandparents in Dixie of Sagersville. This was the video that I showed you on Monday's program following that Sunday's accident on Sugar Camp, that dreadful day in Dixie of Sagersville last year. Now, it bears no details as far as the report is concerned, but as I mentioned when I ran the initial story, the ATV involved was a piece of equipment that belonged to a very close relative of mine, and his grandson had been operating that vehicle shortly before he allowed an 18-year-old boy who lives in Sagersville to take over control of that vehicle. Eyewitnesses say that through different drivers, they had been speeding through Dixie throughout the afternoon and had been warned on a couple of occasions to slow down. However, the last trip out of Sugar Camp, the 18-year-old behind the wheel lost control of the side-by-side, and it went up on the embankment or in the ditch line and then overturned. And when it did, it crushed to death a small boy, a 4-year-old boy who had been staying in Sagersville with his family. From Michigan, 4-year-old Patrick Clare was pronounced dead at the scene. 2 other juveniles were taken to an area hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. As a result of that, the grand jury has been mulling over evidence presented in the case in regards to whether or not indict the 18-year-old operator of that vehicle, Todd Michael Poe. We received reports today on 2 cases involving motorized vehicle fatalities in Sagersville, McGoffin County last year, this being one of them. And it reads as follows, that the above-styled case was referred to the McGoffin County Grand Jury for hearing. The grand jury has not returned an indictment and requested that the matter be dismissed with prejudice, citing insufficient evidence presented to warrant an indictment at this time as it relates to charges against the teenager. No other charges are pending in the matter. No other individuals have been named with any type of charges or anything of that nature that we are aware of. Only to say that the 18-year-old who was a relative and I believe an uncle to the deceased was the one operating per an investigation by local authorities, and the one that the McGoffin County Grand Jury has chose not to indict at this time. Another case that was considered by the McGoffin County Grand Jury was that of charges against Darvin Cole, as were related to the death of Lagonda Mondragon, a young McGoffin County woman who at the age of 25 died in this 2-car collision on Burning Fork on Route 1888 here in Sagersville. This was September the 30th of last year. This is some raw footage that I took from the scene on that afternoon. Police determined that Darvin Cole, was traveling south on 1888 when his truck collided with that being driven by Lagonda Arnett Mondragon of Sagersville. Now, my initial report here says that at the time, state police who investigated the accident, including Trooper Brian Lane, We're investigating that he was driving on a suspended license and had no insurance, and then eyewitnesses had reported that he was traveling at a very high rate of speed seconds before the collision, even though no one actually saw the collision on that afternoon. A lengthy investigation and several return trips by collision experts, we were told off camera and unofficially at a later time, determined that they were unable to determine exactly who may have been across the center line. It appeared as though both vehicles may have been either close to the center line or both across the center line, and due to that, we believe that being one of the reasons that a grand jury has said that insufficient evidence was presented to warrant an indictment at this time. Thus, charges against Darvin Cole were not returned by a sitting grand jury at this time. It was to dismissed with prejudice. I'm sorry, that's without prejudice, as was the case with both of these situations, and that does mean that charges in both of these circumstances could be brought back at a later date should more evidence arise. Now, once again, we are not privy to the knowledge or information that was brought before the grand jury per investigations on behalf of local and or state authorities. Simply the fact that we have reports that no true bill and an order of dismissal were a result of the inquiry and information brought forth to the sitting McGoffin County grand jury. That information generally not made public. If we can find out more from a jury person or anyone else of an official matter, we'll try to do so in the very, very near future. I expect there to be a follow-up on at least one of those counts. With that said, here's tonight's community calendar, a couple of announcements and reminders, and we've still got top headlines to come after that. A calendar brought to you by McGoffin Farm Bureau. And I stepped outside during the last commercial break to get a little shot of the sky for a backdrop, and it was very pleasant to see that even without the clock springing forward, well, the big old ball of fire in the sky is hanging a little higher at this time. Days are getting longer, and I so like it, and I so love the forecast that goes along with it. I couldn't take a direct picture of the sun, obviously, because it's, staring at the sun. Nevertheless, reminders include the Friends of Cole rally featuring Jimmy Rose. Cole keeps the lights on from America's Got Talent. This is Saturday morning, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. at the Pikeville High School, and this is free to everyone. Big rally plan. I am so trying to get there. I'm trying to schedule for that, and then, of course, we've got basketball at the Expo tomorrow. Whether or not I make it or not, if you want to go, you better get there early, because I suspect it's going to be a full house tomorrow at the Pikeville High School for Friends of Cole rally that's planned. Our next community blood drive is set for this Tuesday, noon till 5 at the Hardin Medical Plaza. And got another reminder that the Homemaker Council meeting for McGoffin County at the Extension Office is set for this Monday morning at 10 a.m. There's your reminder. And that looks like that's all I have for your calendar for now. Now, oh no, two more. Don't forget youth baseball and softball signups tomorrow morning at your Sagersville Dairy Queen. Technically noon till 2. That's morning for some of us on Saturday. Noon till 2 tomorrow at your Sagersville DQ. You'll not be able to miss their table set up in the corner. And before you know it, we'll be talking about our Battle of Punch and Half Mountain 150 anniversary Civil War reenactment that's planned. Big events planned. I've already told you about it once, but keep a reminder, April the 11th will be here sooner than you know, and we'll talk about that well before then, hopefully starting in the next week or two. For now, here are tonight's funeral service announcements for this Friday, March 7. All of which brought to you on behalf of the McGoffin County Funeral Home. Beginning with services to be held in honor of Johnny Patrick. We have now the full list of services in his honor. Johnny Daniel Patrick, 74 Lick Creek Road, passed away on Thursday, survived by his wife Beatrice. Visitation is going to start after 6 o'clock tomorrow. It will continue all day Sunday. Services will start Monday morning at 11 o'clock in his honor, all of which, visitation and services, from the McGoffin County Funeral Home Chapel. Also from the McGoffin County Funeral Home, 54-year-old Judy Literal Perkins of Urbana, Ohio, formerly of McGoffin County, passed away on Tuesday. She survived by her husband, Bill, mother, 2 daughters, a sister, and 4 grandkids. Funeral services are going to be held tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock from the New Life Worship Center on New Paintsville Road. Burial will follow in the Perkins Family Cemetery at Rock House. Visitation is for the remainder of this evening and up until services, which start once again tomorrow afternoon at 1. And lastly, this evening, 52-year-old Janice Lynn Marshall Reisner of Gardner Trail passed away Wednesday of this week. She's the daughter of Paul Marshall and the late Virginia Carpenter Marshall. She's also preceded in death by her husband, Willie Marshall. She is mourned in death by her sons, Michael Reisner, Willie Reisner, Brandon Keith Reisner, and a host of family and friends. Funeral services for Janice Reisner are going to be held this Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock from the Sagersville Funeral Home Chapel. Visitation begins this evening. It continues all day tomorrow and, of course, any time prior to Sunday services.
Have you ever noticed how many insurance commercials and advertisements are on television nowadays? You can't watch your favorite program without seeing a little pig or green lizard trying to sell you insurance and get your money for their premiums. But let me ask you this. If you have been in a serious wreck, do you really think that you are in good hands of the insurance companies when you have lost wages, medical bills, and pain and suffering from your head to your toes? The answer is no. If you want to truly be in good hands, give me a call. I'm attorney Donald Wayne McFarland. Let me put my 20 years of experience in working to protect the rights of injured people to work for you. 349-9000.
From time and money saving services like their overdraft protection, telephone and online banking services, to finding the right home, college, or car loan, to personalized checking and savings accounts designed around your exact needs, Sagersville National Bank is still your best choice and the same locally owned and operated bank that's been looking out for your family's financial health since 1902. Sagersville National, restoring the piggy bank population one savings at a time.
At the end of every race, Mark Martin hangs up his driving gloves. He hangs up his fire suit. And he hangs up his helmet. Which is why he picks up his phone and opens the ER Extra app. The app shows ER Extra wait times, locations, and more. It's the one safeguard Mark Martin is never without. ER Extra at Paul B. Hall Regional Medical Center. Extra fast, extra easy, extra great.
The New Year's sales event rolls on at Conley's with 3.99% and up to $1,000 in rebates on new Polarises. Kawasaki's got 3.95% or save up to $1,500 in cash. And just in, Polaris Power digital inverter generators, ultra quiet and ultra affordable at Conley's, Kawasaki, and Polaris of Paintsville. If you're thinking it feels like spring is never going to get here, then stop in the seasonal shop in Sagersville where it's already sprung. They've got all the colors, styles, and all the collections of the season just bursting from home decor and dishware and table settings and so much more. Plus monogrammed and the most colorful of ways to say welcome. All this and so much more at Fraser's Prater Drugs Seasonal Shop, just down from the drugstore and the Radio Shack. On last night's program, I aired details in regards to 2 indictment warrants of several which were returned this week by the sitting Magoffin County Grand Jury. As of this afternoon, 2 more have been served by the Kentucky State Police, one on an individual in Magoffin County and one on a Magoffin County who is incarcerated in another Kentucky county. Kendall Wireman was arrested by the state police earlier today and lodged in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center. Magoffin County was indicted officially on a charge of possession of a controlled substance in the first-degree first offense, this being methamphetamine, related to his being in possession of the illegal drug in March of last year. His bail information was unknown at this hour. He was incarcerated shortly before 4 o'clock this afternoon. A Garland Melvin of Sandbottom here in Magoffin County was officially indicted on a charge of burglary in the 3rd degree. Now, this related to events on around October the 11th of last year. He reportedly entered a building owned by Brenda Shepard and then removed a great deal of her property. State police arrest reports indicate that he was found to be in possession of her property or items. They discovered the items in a room of his home shortly before he jumped out the window and fled on foot to elude authorities. He was apprehended a few feet thereafter and has since been indicted. He was to be arrested, however, he was officially served as he was in another jail, we are told, It was still yet to be determined, believed to be in central or western Kentucky on unrelated charges. And now it's time to take you back figuratively to the Eastern Kentucky Expo Center. Scores and highlights from last night's ladies matchups before I'm literally out the door for more tonight. Second round action last night. The Magauffa County High School band was there and ready. Magauffa County High School cheerleaders were there and ready. And the Magauffa County Lady Hornets, well, they were there for the most part. And in fact, ice cold from the get-go. Scoreless even until they would finally hit one of two from the charity stripe. This shot from Jazzy Howard. Until that point, they were down 7-0. And while the fog would finally start to clear sometime thereafter with a 13-10 Allen Central lead, well, they would stay up one after one quarter. Magauffa County finally would take the lead halfway through the second, having it cut to 2 by Brooklyn Martin's jump shot. Then Jazzy Howard out the castle. She dribbles in for 2 of her own. And then a halftime buzzer beater by Elizabeth Prater for Allen Central keeps the Lady Rebels in the hunt. They're down 6 at this point, 22-28. Magauffa County was still struggling to really get on fire. Still a few demons from that Johnson Central game, of course, in the district championship, I think, still hanging on to the ladies, and you could just see it in their performance. And while it wasn't great at that point, it was certainly worth dancing about. The Rebels still were a threat in the third quarter. Martin with the steal and the dribble. She makes it all the way down below. Easy right-hander off the glass. And hanging in there by 5 points halfway through the third quarter with that one. But with Castle good for 2 and the extra point to follow, there were some signs of life late in the game for Magauffa County. They started finally to open it up. Howard from just inside the arc. Jazzy for another 3 the long way around. All 5 starters from start to finish put an 8-point lid finally on what you can't help but think was a little too close for comfort for Magauffa County and closer than what they wanted it to be. Castle finished out with 18 points. Jazzy Howard 19, Leslie Howard 18, Reed with 6, Gullett with 4, and they would advance only to take on Shelby Valley tonight in a game that they can't take on with the same speed that they did last night against Allen Central. Shelby Valley was the victor last night in first round action. They defeated Pike County Central rather easily, 22 points, 65-43. So tonight, you've got a Johnson Central-Pikeville matchup in Game 1, tip-off set for 6:30, and then Game 2, Shelby Valley and Magauffa County. What's all this mean? Well, here's what it means. You've got your top 4 teams in 15th Region Girls Basketball in the semifinals. You've got Johnson Central, who was, of course, the number 1 seed coming out of the 57th District Tournament. But here's how it breaks down. Magauffa County still leads in wins and losses, 23-5. They're, of course, taking on Valley in Game 2. Valley is second in wins and losses in 15th Region Ball, 22-6. And then you've got, of course, in Game 1, Johnson Central, who is third in regional standings, wins and losses, 20-11, taking on number 4 in regional standings, Pikeville, 20-12. They are going to be 2 ball games that you don't want to miss. And I am so out of time. I've worked all day on graphics and scores and things that I just can't get in there. And, in fact, here's the very short and very sweet of your Licking Valley RECC forecast over a bit of a replay of some of those highlights from last night. It's going to be gorgeous. Clear tonight, a low of 33. Now, tomorrow, some areas of fog early in the morning. We'll see some sun and then increasing clouds. We're still going to see the upper 50s tomorrow. And still a slight chance of some showers late Saturday night into your Sunday, say between 11 p.m. Saturday night, 5 a.m. Sunday. Around the same time you're supposed to be setting those clocks up, don't forget. And then Sunday, a little cloudy on the get-go, then clearing gradually, a little cooler with a high of 52. We'll start off in the 60s. We're going to push the upper 60s by Tuesday next week with sunshine on both days, and then another hit of some rain, possibly likely by your Wednesday. But for now, that's my time. It's off at the Expo. Have a wonderful, safe weekend. We hope to see you back here Monday for more of your news today. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good night.